Doesn't look too bad, does it? Hi everyone on YouTube, it's Giles here. How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. I'm not doing that well. Well, I mean, I am doing that well, but as I set time aside to record this video today, I didn't anticipate that I'd be extraordinarily ill today. It's just like a cold or something. It's probably COVID, you know, it's what they all say, don't they? It's anything now is COVID. It's sort of whatever the media can come up with to make more money, isn't it? But as you can see, I've got all my pictures on the wall. I feel like Basil Fawlty has just, who after he's achieved a lifetime goal. Lemsip. I don't know why I'm reeling back like it's some kind of incredibly hard alcoholic drink. Lemsip. But yeah, I'm in preparation for making more YouTube videos and just trying to get my head straight about what direction I want to go in. Because it's been on my mind a lot recently. Because I've been working on a it's kind of like the best of both worlds in terms of what I want to make in terms of content. But unfortunately, I don't have a lot of people to confer with about it. So I thought, well, maybe I will revert to being open on here on YouTube about what I'm doing with it. And you can all be my confidants, my partners in crime. So there's two projects that I've been working on. One of them is a comic strip, but it's set in my hometown of Hastings or St Leonards. You have to say Hastings, St Leonards, because nobody knows what St Leonards is. As I've written a couple of funny pages about. But that's an interesting one, because I came up with it as the concept to bridge the gap with, like, a lot of my old subscribers might remember the field trip videos. This is like 10 years ago now, 15 years, a lot of years ago. And people enjoyed videos I made when I was out and about in the town in Hastings. And I was, it wasn't remarkable content, it was just fun, you know. Just showing off the town a little bit. But people enjoyed that regardless of whether they came from here or not. And as time has gone on, there's been this project I was working on. It was originally called Smoking Robots, and then it was called Thieves of Thunder, and now it's gone back to being called Smoking Robots again, which was a family series I wrote about the Wallace family. And you had the father, Morris, who was in a band called Thieves of Thunder, which is where the confusion of the title came from. I didn't know what the hell to call it, because it was kind of like imagine a family show, but the band is also a family. So you've kind of got two families to worry about. So you don't know where to centre the bloody thing. But I feel like I brought it home recently. I've been planning this series for like over 20 years, honestly. But I sort of brought it home recently when I came up with the idea to set it in Hastings, or Hastings St Leonards, you know. So you've got the characters from this strip that are living across the board, and I thought to myself, well, you could sort of have your cake and eat it too, because you can make jokes about heavy metal, because you love heavy metal and they're a heavy metal band. You can make jokes about the place you know and love, St Leonards and Hastings, and know them very well. That resonates with people from there as well. But as well, people that aren't from there enjoy that content as well. They enjoy, you know, just hearing about other places. And at the same time, I get to have the family vibe of the family series I want to write. And if I'm going to use locations from St Leonards for some of the strips, only some of them, because bear in mind most of them are inside homes. You know, a lot of the comedy takes place inside a home. But if they're out and about, it would be cool to go about Hastings and take photos of locations of Hastings and do that, you know, and make backdrops for the characters. Characters are going to be made in their studio, and I've developed the Wallace family. I need to develop the Wallace family are the main family. I need to develop the rest of the band and their connections. It's going to be an interesting thing to get through, because I think for starters there's a lot of edgy humour, and I hate to use that term, edgy humour, but there's a lot of I don't know. The thing is, to me, it's one of the things I've struggled with for quite a long time, to be honest. Like, for me, the humour is just normal, but normal humour can get you in a lot of trouble nowadays. And, you know, like for example, some of the characters have got disabilities, they've got things wrong with them, they've got flaws, and a lot of the comedy comes from the acceptance of those flaws. I mean, one of the band members, for example, I use him as an example because he's the one I'm worried about. he's the one I'm worried about that'll get me into trouble. He is a lovable bigot, if you've ever heard of such a thing. The idea is that he's in his mid-50s, done a lot of drugs, and has generally been a very abusive individual. But he comes out of the closet in his mid-50s and proclaims himself an arse-bender. Not a gay man, an arse-bender, which gives you a further insight as to the sort of character he is. And his best friend is a gay black woman who, every time they're together, he finds some way of bringing up her race into the conversation. But that gets bolstered by the fact that they've been friends for over 50 years. So it's one of those things where I'm looking at it and I'm saying, like, I can understand it, and anybody with a brain can understand it, but stupid people do exist, and unfortunately they rule the platforms, you know. And so I end up sort of feeling like trapped in a box as it goes. Like, I think to myself, well, where the hell am I going to upload this? You know, because I think I could be gone from Facebook in seconds. And the irony is, to me, it's heartwarming. You know, it's I think I'll look at some of. This is just one character, by the way. I would definitely say he's the worst one, but there are still other characters who take a lot of flack. You know, like there's a guy that's morbidly obese. There's one of the guitarists in the band, Morris, the main guy. He suffers from neuropathy, which has affected his ability to play with the guitar. And there's jokes made about this sort of thing. But one of my phrases, you know, one of my mottos in life is that the secret of acceptance is to be made fun of. You know, and so there's this undertone of love there, but people are so soft. Like, to me, it's such a love letter to almost all forms of diversity, and anybody that's ever been persecuted. But there's that worry in the back of my head that it will be misread. And it's very difficult to find support for that sort of thing nowadays, which is where the worry and all the stalling has come from. And I feel like, especially now that the project's becoming more and more potent, you know, it's like I'm starting to, as I'm writing these the scripts for them, and I've got absolutely dozens and dozens of scripts for. At the moment, it's all funny pages, you know, just strips. There's some scripts that I think are longer than just a funny page, but you know, I'll see how they can be deployed when I get to them. But it's weird, 'cause I feel like the better the content, the planning of the content gets, the more I worry about how it will survive, how I'll find a platform for it. But there's only, you ain't nothing to it but to do it. You'll never know if you don't find out. But it's difficult because it means that to begin it would be to coexist it with my current work as an artist. And since my current work as an artist is struggling as it is, it has to be brought in tentatively, which is difficult because something like this, you want to hit it really hard, But only time will tell on that, and I think, I think basing this channel around the projects that I'm up to, how I do them, how I make them, is is the way to move forward. And I don't know, because there's that one, and the other one, that's one of the main projects I'm working on, and the other one, funnily enough, it's kind of weird how the other one is less controversial, yet it's more entwined with death than death and bloodshed and gore than you can imagine, which is the Skeleton Party. Skeleton Party is a project that has undergone so many metamorphoses and changes, and a lot of you might remember me talking about the King Villain project a while ago. King Villain was the project, it was a narration project whereby the King Villain narrator was characterised as like an evil wizard, and every episode he was going to read out stories about magic and and castles and kings and all the rest of it. And that's also a project that's been slowly evolving. I've sort of disliked the idea of an actual character called the King Villain in favour of myself instead. Just talking to you like I'm talking now, just with a script in my hand and saying, here's a story, and then I read the story, And it was inspired by, a lot of you guys know I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons. I was inspired by that. I sort of thought, well, it'd be quite nice to write scenarios for Dungeons and Dragons, but just read out as narration pieces. And maybe some of them can have audience participation and stuff like that, so people vote on what happens or something like that. And as I was going over the scripts that I was rehearsing as to what would be good to use as a narration project, out of all the thousands of projects I planned, I kept gravitating towards the Skeleton Party. Some of you might remember the Mole Yard, which was a series of tracks I made in FL Studio, but the Mole Yard itself has this huge huge lore behind it. But the funny thing is, it's got this huge lore behind it that exists within the huge lore of the Skeleton Party, which is set on this place called the Dark Star universe, and the Dark Star planet within it. And I sort of realised that, I just kept gravitating to it, and I was like, well, at this point, it looks like 90% of things I want to read for the narration project are all from my Skeleton Party project. So why not just let it eat the project? Just let the name consume it completely. And so that's what I've gone ahead and done. And I don't know which one to start with, whether I'm going to start with Skeleton Party or whether I'm going to start with the Smoking Robots project. But I'm sort of caught between two of them right now. But for me, it's like the best of both worlds, because I feel like the Smoking Robots strips, they use reality to make comedy and to make entertainment from. They're more based in reality. Well, Skeleton Party draws more purely from fantasy. It's more about spells and magic and there's also future iterations. So you've got your spaceships and droids and whatever, whatever else you want. I feel like that's sort of the sweet spot of both sides of my brain. But again, it's difficult making it come to light, because when you talk about this sort of thing, people do go numb. I've experienced it from friends, and I've experienced it from family. I've experienced it here on YouTube. You know, if I'm talking about my crippling depression, everybody will listen with bated breath. But if I talk about sort of things that I want to do, or things that I hope for, then I get nothing but radio silence. And it's quite simply because I haven't built my channel in that perspective. I haven't steered it in that direction. So whenever I talk about it, it's like a bolt out of the blue, and no one is really used to it. Or you could argue they're just not here for it, and I need to persist with that navigation. Otherwise, I'll sort of be stuck in this place where I'll just have to be making fart noises on camera for the rest of my life. And at the moment, I feel like a sense of less and less tolerance for dawdling is coming to me. I feel more and more constructively fed up, if you know what I mean. I feel like I need to start pursuing this before I get any grumpier. But this is just a test video, and telling you, well, I'm kind of babbling at you. It'll make sense eventually. There's fingers crossed, but I want to make a start. But the room's not looking bad, is it? We've got Wendy up there, Jessica there, the biker boys from Mars over there, Raquel. Do you know what? I think I might mention something. I found out from a builder that Raquel Welch died. He just walking through my flat, took one look at it, and he went, "That's probably worth a lot of money now." I was like, what do you mean? He's like, "Well, she's not alive anymore." And that's how I found out that Raquel, it hasn't upped the value. He was just, I don't know. But yeah, we've got Tiff over there. We got Sorority Babes and the Slime Ball Bowlerama. There's a sequel to that, and I literally don't know how to find it. It's one of those things where it was like made on some stupid, obscure streaming site that no one cares about, and I don't know where to find it now, which kind of sucks. And here we have Die Licht, which is the Sorceress, but I think it's the German poster of the Sorceress. Das Neue Fantasy Aventur. Kino hit. Cinema hit. Because I know that, because that's like the only German word I know. Entschuldigen Sie bitte, wo ist das Kino? Ah, das Kino ist dort drüben. Ah, dear. I could fool a German. I'm aware that I have some German subscribers. I can't. Well, would you be fooled if you'd never seen me before and I go up to you and I say, "Entschuldigen Sie bitte, wo ist das Kino?" Bear in mind anything you say after that, unless the cinema is dort drüben, I have no idea any other like explanation as to, you know, if there's any turns or, you know, unless it's in sight and dort drüben is the answer, I won't be able to know where the cinema is. And and still, I think you guys have seen it before. We've got Jessica and Holly over there. Actually, go on. There. Holly looks like I wished I looked like. I was thinking of showing something on the door, but I don't know. I've messed the camera up now, haven't I? Oh well. And there's like cracks in like the plasterboard there, because the plasterboard is attached to the door, and after so many years of opening the door, the plasterboard is getting a bit fidgety. I don't know how to patch that up. Any ideas? Are there any DIY people out there patching up cracks in plasterboard without having to replace it? That's my mission to you. Oh, Lemsip. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this rather babbling video. But those are the two projects that I'm going to be working on moving forward. So we've got Smoking Robots, and the other one, my life's work, whatever it's called, Skeleton Party, which I think Skeleton Party is probably going to be the one that features on the channel the most, because it's it's narration, and it's pretty much like this right here, except there'd probably be a microphone here. I think that's fair enough, and some better lighting. I was thinking I'll get a ring light or something, because this lighting is nonsense. And although I do have a light, I put it down there and I look like a serial killer. And I think a ring light would be better. I have a ring light, but it's a crap ring light, so I need one that's not crap. Hello, Currys. Do you sell not crap ring lights? Anyway, thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you very soon. Fairly well. I would edit. Sorry I didn't edit this video, by the way, but I'm ill. Send me flowers.